Here's a question I want you to sit with for a second. If you're a Muslim living in the UK, can you actually build real wealth through investing without compromising your faith? Most people I speak to say no. They assume the stock market is off limits. Too much riba, too much uncertainty, too complicated to screen, so they leave their money sitting in a cash ISA, earning interest they don't even want. But what if I told you that the halal investing landscape in the UK has completely changed and you're missing out on something genuinely powerful? Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll have a clear, actionable plan. Let's start with the basics, because there's a lot of confusion here, even among people who've been investing for years. Halal investing comes from Islamic finance principles rooted in sharia law. There are three things you're primarily trying to avoid. First, riba, that means interest. You can't earn or pay interest, which rules out most bonds, most savings accounts, and any investment that earns a return purely from lending money. Second, gara. That means excessive uncertainty or speculation. Think highly leveraged trading, certain derivatives, spread betting. If it looks more like gambling than ownership, it's out. Third, haram industries. You can't invest in companies that make their money from alcohol, tobacco, weapons, pork products, adult entertainment, or conventional banking. So that rules out holding a plain S&P 500 tracker, right? Well, sort of. Here's where it gets interesting. The majority of companies in a typical index fund are actually fine from a sharia perspective. Tech companies, healthcare businesses, consumer goods, most of them pass. The issue is that some don't. And even companies that do pass the sector screen might still have some incidental interest income on their balance sheet. That's where purification comes in. If a halal-screened fund holds a company that earns, say, 2% of its revenue from interest, you calculate that proportion of your dividend or return and donate it to charity. It's not a punishment, it's an accounting exercise. Think of it like sorting a bag of mixed coins. Most of them are fine. You just remove the ones that aren't, or you donate the equivalent value. The principle is practical, not paralysing. Right, I want to tell you about someone. Let's call him Tariq. Tariq is 28, earns a decent salary in Manchester, and has been meaning to start investing for 3 years. Every time he looks into it, he gets overwhelmed trying to manually screen individual stocks. So he does nothing. His money sits in a Monzo savings pot earning 5% interest he doesn't want and doesn't spend. By the time Tariq is 60, if he'd invested just £300 a month from age 28 into a halal fund averaging 7% annual growth, he'd have roughly £730,000. Instead, because he thought halal investing was too complicated, he has a cash pot. That paralysis is the real cost, and it's completely avoidable, because the hard work of screening has already been done for you. Let me show you how. So where do you actually put your money? There are now genuinely good options for UK Muslim investors, and the gap between halal and conventional investing has never been smaller. The first option worth knowing is Wahed Invest. It's probably the most well-known dedicated Islamic investment platform in the UK. It's FCA regulated, it offers a stocks and shares ISA, and everything inside it is Sharia screened by a board of Islamic scholars. You can start with as little as £100. Their portfolios include halal equity funds, sukuk, which are Islamic bonds, and gold. The fees are around 0.79% annually, which is higher than a Vanguard index fund, but you're paying for the screening infrastructure. Then there's HSBC Islamic Global Equity Index Fund, available through platforms like Hargreaves Lansdown or AJ Bell. This is a Sharia-compliant tracker fund that mirrors the MSCI World Islamic Index. It filters out the haram sectors and applies the purification methodology. The ongoing charge is around 0.35%, which is far more competitive. If you want to build your own halal portfolio with individual ETFs, Trading 212 and Free Trade both let you hold iShares MSCI World Islamic UCITS ETF. Ticker ISWD, inside a stocks and shares ISA. That ISA wrapper is important. Your annual ISA allowance is £20,000, and any growth or returns inside it are completely tax-free. For your pension, Pension B offers a Sharia plan, a CP that invests entirely in halal-screened equities. You get the tax relief on contributions, that's 25% added by the government on basic rate, and your money grows in a Sharia-compliant fund. Your savings are also protected up to £85,000 per institution under the FSCS, the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, so your money isn't floating in the dark. Here's the part that actually matters. What do you do this week? Step 1, decide your goal. Are you building a general investment pot, saving for a house, or building a pension? That determines which account to use. For a house deposit, look at the lifetime ISA. You can put in up to £4,000 a year and the government adds a 25% bonus on top. The Lisa isn't inherently halal or haram, it's the account wrapper. What you invest inside it matters. Step 2. Choose your account type. For most beginners, a stocks and shares ISA is the right starting point. It shelters your growth from tax. You can access the money anytime, unlike a pension, and the £20,000 annual allowance is more than enough for most people starting out. If you want to specifically invest for retirement and get that tax relief boost, open a SIPP. Pension B's Sharia plan is the simplest entry point. Step 3. Pick your fund. If you want hands-off and simple, Wahed Invest does everything for you. If you want lower fees and more control, go to Hargreaves Lansdown or AJ Bell and pick the HSBC Islamic Global Equity Index Fund or the iShares MSCI World Islamic ETF. Step 4. Set up a direct debit, even £50 or £100 a month. Invested consistently beats a large lump sum you keep meaning to make. Automate it so it happens before you can talk yourself out of it. Step 5. Handle purification. If your fund pays dividends, check the fund's purification ratio. Most Islamic funds publish this. Calculate the impure portion and donate it to a charity of your choice. It sounds fiddly, but it takes about 10 minutes once a year. That's the whole system. Goal, account, fund, automate, purify. 5 steps. So, to bring it all together. Halal investing is not a compromise. It's a structured, principled approach to building wealth, and there are real UK platforms built specifically to help you do it. The 3 things to remember: avoid riba, gharar and haram industries, and use purification for the grey areas. Use tax-efficient wrappers like an ISA or SIPP